Hello, good evening. Welcome to Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. We're coming to you live from our studios here on the John Hammond Street. Also live on our numerous affiliates across the country. Around the world, we're streaming live on 3news.com. Download the TuneIn app from the Google Play, Apple, iOS store, and listen to us on the go. Coming up this evening, NDC stalwart Martin Amidu wades into 2024 running mate controversy, suggesting John Mahama must choose a young candidate who can contest the 2028 general elections. We get into the argument of the former special prosecutor, who's also been taking on the two major political parties for what he believes is politics of deception. And then a lot later in this evening's edition, Institute for Energy Security, IES, is projecting yet another increase in the prices of gas oil, gasoline, and LPG in the next pricing window. Essentially, you will be paying more at the pumps if you get there. By how much? We'll find out shortly if you stay with us here on Hot Edition. There's business, sports, and entertainment as well in the next 45 minutes if you stay with us. I am Mawuena Egbeta. This is Hot Edition here on 3FM 92.7. Stay with us. A pleasure that you could be a part of this evening's bulletin. It's streaming live on Facebook. Our handles 3FM927. Same handles on Twitter as well, 3FM927. That app now is known as X, but still being a dinosaur in relation to that. X, tweet at us with the hashtag Hot Edition or leave a message in the Facebook comments, the Facebook stream, I should say, and trust that we'll do the reading for you. Like I mentioned, I am Mawuena Egbeta, and we'll begin in this evening's edition of the bulletin on the front of politics. Politics in relation to the opposition National Democratic Congress, who have scheduled March 7 to decide who becomes the running mate of John Dramani Mahama. But the controversy and the conversation around it is picking up heat and picking up heat fast. Let's get you into it, because a founding member of the party, Martin A.B.K. Amidu, has waded into that conversation regarding the running mate conversation in relation to the 2024 election, suggesting that the flag bearer of the NDC must choose a person who can contest as flag bearer in the 2028 elections when he, John Mahama, can no longer run for office. His call comes amid speculation in media circles that John Mahama has re-nominated Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman as his running mate for the 2024 presidential election. The former Education Minister partnered Mr. Mahama in the 2020 elections, and she will be 72 this year. And commenting on the choice of running mate in a statement, the former special prosecutor advocated for a candidate who can contest as a party flag bearer in 2028, like we mentioned, when John Mahama can no longer do that. My colleague Dennis Puaberi Wadam is going to join me in studio for us to delve deeper into that latest epistle by Martin Amidu. But who are these individuals who have been making the names, or whose names have come up really strongly in the last few days in the lead up to March 7? It is Ghana month. Hello and welcome to the month where we celebrate everything Ghana. But we're going to get into details with my colleague Dennis Puaberi Wadam as to exactly the argument Martin Amidu has been making. I mentioned Dennis has joined us in studio. Dennis, welcome. Happy New Month to you. It's Ghana month. Beautiful African prints. You have one for yourself as well.
You look good in that smoke. Look like a chief from some part of Ghana.
Hopefully one day I become a chief in some part of Ghana. But
well, fingers crossed.
Let's talk what Martin Amidu has been saying. He's been taking on the two major political parties for what he believes is politics of deception. But the crux of his message this time in his latest epistle has to do with who the NDC decides to select as running mate for 2024 elections.
Yes, partly so. He talks about a lot of things, including who the NDC must be looking at and considering as a running mate for the flag bearer, John Dramani Mahama. But amongst the many things, he talks about the processes leading to selection of running mates, not just for the NDC, but the MPP as well. He thinks that it's not in line with what the ideals of the 1992 Constitution put forward in Article 55, where he thinks that it's supposed to be a democratic process where everybody, including the grassroots, be involved in selecting running mates. In any case, he says that the people who have been selected themselves should also be given that opportunity to choose the people that they want. I mean, the flag bearers themselves to choose the people they want to partner them to the election. But he thinks that he doesn't see that happening. And that in most instances, you see people he says are political elites who sit behind a veil and choose people.
Unknown faces,
yes,
who
and in some
make
instances
the appointments.
Impose them on these candidates. He thinks that that shouldn't be the case. Now, with respect to the NDC, he uses himself as an example. When he was selected by Professor Mills to be a running mate, he recalls how before the then candidate, Professor Mills, even put forward his name for consideration by the National Executive Council, or the Council of Elders, he himself was already engaged and he had accepted to do the job. So what he's trying to say is that if we are now told by the NDC press statement, which was to the effect that Mahama had given a name and the Council of Elders would look at it, then it presupposes that the candidate is already known.
Chosen.
Yes, if that is what happened during his time. Now he goes on to also talk about if in so doing, then what kind of person should they be looking at? He says that they should be looking beyond 2024. Reason being that Mahama, in his view, would only have 4 years to do. And after the 4 years, the NDC should still be looking at getting another 4 years. And with which candidates? And when they make that analysis, they should be looking at getting somebody who would have age on the person's side and be able to push through to get that election. He says that he has heard the Ahoy brothers make a point that when it comes to one of the names that have been tipped to be the running mate of Jomna.
And we'll get into those names shortly.
Yes, but he makes specific reference to Professor Nana Opokajiman, who he says that the Ahoy brothers had mentioned that age will not be a problem for her. And he quotes them as saying if Nana is 78, 79, after 2028, she can still be president. I mean, constitutionally or legally, she can be president regardless of age. But Martin Amidu thinks that that could be problematic in terms of the energy that will be needed. And he even thinks that some of the things that we are seeing in this economy, he describes that as some of the mishaps of Akufo-Addo is largely because of his age. So, in essence,
that's an interesting point.
Yes, in essence, when Martin Amidu writes, he tries to make a lot of make suggestions, innuendos and all that.
Innuendos and aspersions being cast and all that.
So he makes that point, in essence, saying that if the NDC is looking at getting a running mate, they should look at that person, that age should be on that person's side. But in essence, what the actual write-up is about defending the 1992 Constitution, which he says that we should all take it up upon ourselves to go and cast the vote between what seems to be like two bad options, but we should make a choice that he himself will be going to vote. We should also going to vote to defend the 1992 Constitution, just so that we don't allow a few people to impose candidates on us, as he thinks it is happening within the NDC and then the MPP.
Right, Dennis, I'll hold your horses there and get us to go on the telephone lines right now. And we'll do that shortly, but like we mentioned, there are names that have been coming up, and we'll seek to just go through some of these names. Professor Nana Jane Opoku-Agyeman, she's 72. That's a conversation that's come up quite strongly. She's a former education minister, first female vice chancellor of a public university, the University of Cape Coast to be specific, and she was a running mate in the 2020 elections. Then there's Julius Debra, a name that's come up as well, a former chief of staff, a former local government minister, a former Eastern Regional chair of the NDC, and economist. Then there's Dr. Nimoy Thompson, who's been member of parliament before, there's Eric Opoku, and then a retired police commissioner as well, whose name Nathan Kofi Boakye.
Yes.
That's also come up. Then Eric Opoku is the member of parliament for Isunafo, and as well Togbe Afede, 66-year-old traditional ruler and a businessman. These are the names which have come up. Now I believe we can subject to a bit more scrutiny. Mustafa Gbande is a Deputy General Secretary of the Opposition National Democratic Congress. He's joined us on the telephone lines this evening, I should say, for a conversation. Dr. Amache as well, Kwesi Amache Boateng is a senior lecturer with the Department of History and Political Science at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. It does appear I've lost one of such individuals on the telephone lines. I'll try and verify as to who really I've just lost on the telephone line. But many thanks for joining us this evening. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
Yes, Doc, perhaps we can start with the question that's been on the minds of a lot of Ghanaians, and one that Martin Amidu has been making an argument in favor of. What should the opposition party be looking out for when they are seeking to get a partner for John Mahama ahead of the December polls?
Let me say thanks and say good evening to your cherished listeners and viewers if you are on TV. In a democracy, you want someone who balances the ticket. That is, who simply add to the flag bearer to simply present to the populace a group of individuals, two people who will be able to present themselves as worthy to lead the nation. And so individuals who have the capacity to address the challenges that the nation faces. So essentially, you want such individuals. Basically, they should be seen as capable. They should be seen as individuals who have over the years demonstrated, competence in various endeavors in national life, and who, because of that, have what it takes to lead the country going forward, generally.
An individual that can bring some value to the ticket, like you say. We've seen a number of names bandied about. Bandied about is not a word I would prefer to use for a position like a potential vice president. But out of the names, one name appeared to be sticking out strongly, particularly based off on media reports as seen yesterday, and I'm sure you've seen that as well for yourself. Your general thoughts on the decision, if that is, to renominate the 2020 running mate?
Yeah, I've always agreed that the NDC is in a poor position to really come out with someone who, effectively, add to the ticket of former President Mahama. Given the names of individuals that have come up, all worthy individuals who, in their own ways, have endeared themselves, have really done well themselves, achieved successes generally, and such that you want to, say that, yes, these people will be able to bring something worthy on board in terms of policy formulation, policy implementation, and for that matter, the ability to pull voters to support the ticket, given that these individuals, when added to that of President Mahama, should be seen as having the capacity to address some of the challenges that the country is facing. I have always argued that, President Mahama is blessed with a whole lot of people, and that he could relax and make a choice, one that will meet his personal requirements, because the national requirements are met by almost all of them. I don't see any of them who would not make a good running mate.
So he has a dilemma of good enough candidates, and now the challenge as to who he can select to partner him.
It could be a challenge. It could also be something he can relax and go in for. He's not tied by any special constraint, no ethnic constraint, no constraint in terms of capacity. It's not. But then at the same time, you want to zero in to Ghana's unique situation that, we have on our hands now. And so we want to, advise accordingly. Because, yes, they all come in with special capacity. But then some of them will definitely, appeal very much to Ghanaians, than others. Yes, he's got all those individuals who can do well, but then some of them, I believe, can do better than others.
Doc, let's look at the school of thought, and I'm sure you might have seen brief portions of the latest epistle by Martin Amidu, the former special prosecutor. I must mention that we've lost Mustafa Gbande again on the telephone line. We'll try and raise him and then put a number of these questions to him. We're trying to raise him one more time, and then we do that. But Doc, the school of thought is that, look, this is an election that largely, based on opinion polls and the brief scientific polls that have been done by groups like Global Info Analytics, it points to the NDC winning. John Mahama, per the country's constitution, cannot go beyond 2024 election should he win. This should be an opportunity to elect somebody beyond this particular elections for 2028. That's been an argument that's been made. But Doc, I'll hold you on the line because we've been joined by Mr. Gbande and then pick his thoughts as well as to the conversation in relation to the Mr. Gbande. Many thanks for joining us this evening here on Hot Edition. And so we know that the processes have kick-started for your party. It's culminating into that meeting on March 7. We'll not want you to bore us with the details, but really, what will the party's Council of Elders be seeking to do March 7? Are there a number of names, or it is really the case that it is just one name that will be deliberated upon by the party's Council of Elders? Mr. Gbande, can you hear me? It does appear we're having a bit of a challenge with the connection with Mustafa Gbande. We'll have to try it one more time again. Mr. Gbande, can you hear me? Right, does appear we have a challenge. Doc, let me perhaps just return to you on that question I asked about looking beyond this particular election for a candidate who can then, based off on the 2024 elections, would have been marketable, would have been seen, and then will make it easy for the party to stand a chance in winning the 2028 elections.
Well, actually, this is an interesting, if you like, dimension that I've brought into the conversation. Generally speaking, you want to say that the picking of a vice presidential candidate should not necessarily be done in a way as to go beyond what they are asked to do. Because there are so many individuals in the party who obviously might have been preparing themselves to lead the party.
Right.
So that if we allow just an individual, and normally the constitutions of the political party simply enjoins the leader, the flag bearer, to pick someone he or she will be comfortable working with. So that if we allow such an individual to, if you like, assume the position of, continuing after the term of office,
it will be an unfair advantage to others who are also,
and also will not give ourselves the opportunity to, take our time and pick worthy candidates.
Right.
So generally speaking, that will not be a good thing to do from my understanding. But then every moment addresses the issues that are born in it. Are we in such a critical situation that NDC strategically should look beyond 4 years and come out with such a decision simply to suit the current moment? If that is the argument, then so be it.
Doc, let me hold you now. Mustafa Gbande has joined us. Hopefully we have a better connection to him this time. Mr. Gbande, good evening. Many thanks for joining us this evening.
Thank you for having me.
Right. Thankfully, we have a good connection now. So I was asking the question that we know on March 7, the party's Council of Elders and National Executives will meet to deliberate on the candidate. Is it just a name, or this is a group of names culminating the entire process since his election as flag bearer?
Thank you very much, and good evening to your cherished listeners. What is important, and as far as I'm concerned, within what I'm privy to, is that on the 7th of March, we would have an opportunity to get to know what this individual would be. But I do know, certainly, that the issues around the principle that guided His Excellency President Mahama is to look for someone who complements his vision, someone who brings on board experience and integrity, that at the end of the day, he is known as a former president. He's worked before with the people of Ghana. We know what he's capable of doing and what he has been able to achieve. And we also know that the current dispensation, the current administration and government, have brought about some level of reproach to the seat of the office of Vice President. For the first time in the history of our country, that you will have to hear a Vice President publicly lie. For the first time in the history of our country, that if you ask majority of our youth on the street whether they trust the office of a Vice President, they will tell you that they don't trust the Vice President because the Vice President is a liar. And so the NDC's effort is to bring on board someone who represents truth, someone who represents that credibility that will bring back the reputation of the office of Vice President. And so I do know that at the end of the day, President Mahama and the NDC settles on a particular personality among a long list of people, including businessmen, people who are not even not politicians, who believe.
So there's a long list. There's a long list. Yes. That's what it is that you confirm. That it is a list of individuals who've been presented to the party, because we know yesterday media reports suggested that an appointment had already been made. How does the party respond to speculations by very reputable media houses as such?
Well, such speculations, if you do a publication, does not either make a media house non-reputable. Media is always part of politics, and media always set agenda. Media always gets some information wrong, some information right. And so I would not say that they are right or not. I'm just saying that at the end of the day, on the 7th, by the authority of the party, a name will be put out, and that name will represent the choice of the flag bearer and the endorsement of the rank and file of the party for 2024 election.
So there's no truth. There's no truth in the reportages from yesterday, which all but confirmed Professor Nana Jane as a party's running mate again for the 2024 general elections.
Well, you will agree with me that if you want to summarize the number of names that the media themselves have put out, they are more than 5. And so, which of them am I speaking for? Which of them am I going to confirm that His Excellency the President has nominated? But what is more interesting is that you have police commissioners, former police commissioners who are being tipped by the public to be capable of being running mates. You have businessmen who are being tipped by the public to partner with President Mahama. What it means is that the candidature of President Mahama comes with hope. It comes with some reassurance to the Ghanaian people that he is coming to solve the problems that we are currently living in, to disburden the ordinary Ghanaian, remove our hardship, and reduce poverty that we are being put into.
You mentioned that the public are pushing for individuals. You've mentioned the former police commissioner and the likes. Is this suggestive of the fact that there are lobbying still ongoing ahead of March 7, considering you yourself have confirmed that there's a list of names, and so people are interested? Yes, the candidature of John Mahama, you make the argument, is one that offers hope, that inspires hope, and so it's seen individuals lobby greatly ahead of March 7?
Well, this is a season where a running mate will be named. It's going to happen in NDC, it's going to happen in MPP. People will always have to lobby. Political parties will even have to go and lobby other people. That is why the MPP is in churches begging pastors to come and be their running mates. But for us, we do know that each and everyone that has an aspiration of becoming a running mate, you've heard even chiefs call on His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. All these people are interested parties and stakeholders who the party is looking, and the party will always look out for what the Ghanaian people are looking for. And I can confirm to you that what the Ghanaian people are looking for is persons of credibility, persons that possess some pedigree of truthfulness and sincerity that will bring to bear to that office. You don't have to give an office of a running mate to someone who is not truthful, someone who doesn't stand by their word. That is where Ghanaians are looking at. We are looking at a candidate that can help solve the problem of this country. So it brings a lot of people to lobby. People will always lobby. People will always be interested in a position one way or the other, particularly when they know that it is obvious that the next government will be led by His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. That even heightens the level of people, the level of interest from individuals, and that is allowed.
Doc, I'll return to you again briefly, but I'd just like to put that question. Mr. Egbeta, you've mentioned what it is that the party is looking out for in a partner for John Mahama ahead of the December polls. Is the party considering looking beyond elections 2024? Martin Amidu is one of the foremost members of the party. He's written an epistle, I believe you've seen a copy of, and makes the argument that, look, we should not, or you in the NDC should not allow faceless individuals behind the veil appoint a running mate for John Mahama. He should be given the freedom to be able to choose a candidate he believes he can work with, and that in him doing so, he needs to be looking at a candidate who is young and can be a face of the party to lead the 2028 elections and beyond.
Well, it's important to remark that Mr. Martin Amidu respectfully have been one of the worst and fierce critics of His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, or whatever it is. So I'm happy today is admonition that people should allow President Mahama the chance to name his own running mate. My assurance to him and the people of Ghana is that the party is solidly behind His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. He is himself. He knows what he does. He knows what drives his vision. The party is solidly behind him, and he will certainly not allow anyone make that choice for him. The party is waiting to support whoever he brings. Now, on the question of age, if we have allowed His Excellency Nana Addo at his age to be a president of Ghana for 2 terms, then we should not be talking about anybody in age. Among the list of people you have mentioned, I don't see any one of them who is out of time by way of age. These are people, and of course, with all that points to the fact that the status quo have deprived governance in this country. We brought a very young man who was touted as an economic whiz kid, who is a doctor, a governor, a former deputy governor of Bank of Ghana, but he's giving us the worst experience as a vice president could ever give. Under him, we've recorded the worst economic performance. And so all those indicators have been negated.
And so you think the argument of age is not important for the NDC, or it's all about just winning 2024 elections, and when you get to the bridge you cross it?
It's about credibility and integrity. When Ghanaians believe that President Akufo-Addo was the man, they voted for him. They didn't know, little did they know that NPP have packaged 2 corn men for the people of Ghana. We bought the West Goose. They've destroyed our country. But we have to rewrite the history and the life of our country because people live in that country. Ghanaians need to prosper. That is why we need to put more emphasis on integrity and credibility.
Right.
The ability of people to do Ghanaians good. The ability of people to protect the public purse. Not a group of people that when they say we will protect the public purse,
right,
now we are looking for police officers to go and collect the purse from them.
Right, Mr. Egbeta.
So that's the unfortunate situation we find ourselves in.
I'll come to you for concluding remarks, but Doc, let me perhaps start drawing the curtains down on the conversation with you. You've heard Mr. Egbeta, who's made the argument that they're not looking at age and that they have specifications as to what they want in the candidate, and that John Mahama is fully in control in terms of who it is that he wants to partner. You've seen the names, you've heard quite a number of individuals. If I were to push you to tape a name out of the individuals, who all of whom you've expressed confidence in their ability to be able to execute the task, who is that one candidate that you believe the NDC should be looking at, considering all of the dynamics we find ourselves within as a country?
That's a challenge, You're really pushing me.
Yes, I am.
Going in for one name, I'll go in for Togbe Afede.
Togbe Afede, you believe is the best bet for John Mahama?
Yeah, I'll go in for him because of his personal achievements as an entrepreneur, a finance person. He's demonstrated that he's forward-looking, a man of vision, and crucially, a very disciplined individual.
Doc, I appreciate that you could give me a name. Mr. Egbeta, let me end with you. And Doc, many thanks for speaking to us as well. You've had a name that's come up, but for you as a party, we know March 7, what's going to be the process like? Just walk us through it briefly. So what, there'll be deliberations and then a decision will be made on March 7 and that announcement will be made on the same day?
Well, so on the 7th, early in the morning, the leadership of the party, led by the General Secretary, Honorable P.P. Kote, and the National Chairman, Johnson Asibinketia, would meet the Council of Elders, who are respected, experienced members of the party, to discuss the running mate at that level. And then that will be followed by a National Executive Committee meeting, which will include some members of the Council of Elders, National Executive Committee members, including national executives, and then regional executives. They form the National Executive Committee. So at that level, they will also make their inputs and discussions into what makes the running mate. And then I think that at that level, the most important thing is that there would have been a wider discussion across the rank and file of the party what the choice of the flag bearer is. And if it happens that we settle on a name, then what it means is that the rank and file of the party is solidly behind the choice of the flag bearer. Then we are good to go.
Mr. Egbeta, I appreciate that you could speak to us after the initial challenges in connecting with you.
Thank you very much. That's
Mustafa Egbeta. He is a Deputy General Secretary of the Opposition National Democratic Congress, speaking to us this evening here on Hot Edition. It's 26 minutes to the top of the hour here on 3FM 92.7. This is Hot Edition. We're getting on to our second story and our headline story for you this evening on the bulletin, having to do with the chance that a high probability really that you could be paying more for petrol, diesel, gas in the next pricing window, which should be kicking off from today. And so the Institute for Energy Securities, the IES, is projecting an increase in the prices of gas oil, gasoline, and LPG. So that's petrol, diesel, and liquefied petroleum gas in the next pricing window. In a statement, IES noted this follows a continuous price hikes recorded by all refined petroleum products under consideration on the world's fuel market in the past 2 weeks. Eric Mawuena is a research analyst at the Institute. He's joined us for a conversation just briefly. When you say, Mr. Mawuena, good evening. Many thanks for joining us. When you say that there's been a continuous recorded price hike by all refined petroleum products under consideration on the world fuel market. Really, what do you mean, and how should that be affecting me here in Ghana, who's seeking to be able to buy fuel when I get to the petrol station?
Okay, thank you, Marina, and then good evening to your cherished listeners. Basically, Ghana, as an important refined petroleum country, we basically import our refined products from outside. And so what happens in the outside world basically affects us in Ghana. And so on the international market, refined products, prices of it have increased. If you take that of gasoline, it has gone up by 0.24%. Gas oil has gone up by 1.56%. And then for LPG, it went up by 2.92%. And so on the international market, there has been an increase in those kind of those prices. Now, Ghana, we also import these products using our cedi, but you do it in dollar terms. So converting your cedis to dollar, you need to find the strength of your currency. And then for the past 2 weeks, the currency or our cedi has not been that stable. It has seen some sort of depreciation by 1.44%. So on the back of the increase in international prices and then the depreciating currency, we expect prices at the various pumps to go up.
So prices are expected to go up. You've explained the reasoning behind it, and for a lot of people, it will be also the depreciation of the cedi. What is the margin of increment that is to be expected at the next pricing window, which starts from today, I believe?
For the margin of increase, it depends on the various petroleum oil marketing companies, because they all have different pricing strategies. Some can increase it by 3%, some can increase it by 2%, some can also increase by 4%. But you're having competitors. All of them are competing for the same consumer base. And so if you are not more strategic with your pricing, you will be able to not have a lot of consumers buying your product. And so for the margin, it can be between 2%, can be 3% or 4%. But definitely, they are all watching what their other competitors are doing.
You've given us the indication that it will depend largely on the oil marketing company and by what percentage they decide. But as I mean average, we're looking at what prices will go up by 50 pesos.
2 to 5%.
6 to 5%.
2 to 5%.
2 to 5% increment, depending on where it is that you buy your fuel from. And for LPG, what's the percentage increase as well? Because I'm sure the 2 to 5% is for petrol and diesel.
Yes, so they all cut across.
So it will cut across 2 to 5% for petrol, LPG, diesel, and then LPG.
Yes, gasoline and then gas oil.
We've known for quite a while. I mean, it's been well touted by the current administration and the vice president, the intervention of gold for oil. The Bank of Ghana announced that it was being phased out. It's not been completely phased out. That confirmation has not come through yet. Is that still an intervening measure by some stretch to ease out the pressure in terms of the price increases?
Okay, so if you are talking about any government intervention, then those government interventions basically are supposed to lead to some reduction at the various pumps. Because when you check on the international market, prices have not been that of a quantum, like say 5% to 10% increment. It is between the range of 1 to 4, basically 1 to 3.24 for gasoline. And so LPG is also less than 3%, and then gas oil is less than 2%. So it is not that marginal increase that we are experiencing now. And so if the gold for oil were to be something that is working for the first pricing window of March, there should have been sort of some reserves or some pricing ahead of time that could have stabilized the market. But we are not seeing that at the various pumps. If you go to the pumps today, you would have seen that gold, for instance, has increased its price. And so if gold, who is more or less like the government company, OMC, who played a major role in terms of the gold for oil, is increasing its prices, then probably it means that the gold for oil is not working at this current pricing window.
Gold for oil is not working at this current pricing window. Is there, if the state is to make an intervention, what possible policies could we be looking at to try and ease out these increases? Because we know that if for nothing at all, the cedi depreciation continues to be one of the major reasons for the rise? Should we be seeing a full-scale return of the gold for oil policy, for instance?
For the possible policy measures, basically we've always been trumpeting the same thing. It's a stable currency. And because if you're an important country, definitely you make use of the dollar. So if your city is not stable, you always be having this foreign exchange depreciation losses. And basically, these OMCs are not for the Christmas. They import with hard-earned currency, and if they don't have access to it, they go to the black market. Even the black market, they are getting at 13 cities. Some are getting more than 13 cities. So definitely, it will affect the importing. Now, talking about reserves, we know that the only way we can make use of that is the Temari refinery, which has been redundant for the past years, not working at all. We're talking about BOS, which is a strategic reserve for the government. They are supposed to keep in stock some of these petroleum products so that at certain prices where the prices on the international market is rising, you can release those products onto the market. But currently, the prices are rising, and so there's no release of products onto the market by BOS. And so the last pricing window, which was the second pricing window for February, the exchange rate was like almost 12 cities, 12.1, 12.2, 12.3. Now it is above 12.5, even unofficially, almost 13. And so assuming you have some reserves at almost 12 Ghana cities to $1, and those reserves have been more or less brought onto the market, definitely, when you go to the various pumps, exchange rate and then international prices will not affect the current pricing window. And because we don't have these measures in place, basically, we should expect some prices hikes at the various pumps.
Mr. Hache, I appreciate that you could speak to us this evening.
Thank you too, Marina.
That's Eric Hache. He's an analyst with the Institute for Energy Security, speaking to us this evening. And by word of notice, Shell has already increased the price for petrol, diesel, and then Shell V Power, 13.49 cedis per liter for petrol, 14.49 for diesel, and then V Power is 14.99. And so if you work the math, it could be looking at around 60 cedis for a gallon of fuel, really, if you're going about your duties. What does this mean? The ripple effects. We know that once petrol prices continue to go up, then it trickles down. Transport fares go up, food prices go up, and so really it is the bane or the crux of all of the matters and all of the conversations. Let us know what you make of all the stories that we've been bringing to you here on Hot Edition. 17 minutes to the top of the hour here on 3FM 92.0. We'll be going in for business shortly here on the bulletin, but we'll talk a bit more politics for you. Alan Tremantain is a presidential candidate for the Movement for Change, and he's pledged to make the Central Region a hub for international finance, a move he believes will help to create more jobs for unemployed youth in the region. Speaking to hundreds of traders to begin his campaign tour of the Central Region, the former Trade and Industry Minister vowed to enhance the fortunes of residents of Kaswa if voted into office.
Central Region position between Greater Accra and the Western Region. One of the projects Central Region will become the new financial services center, not only for Ghana, but for the whole of West Africa. So one would say, between Greater Accra and the Western Region, any major project I say, Western Region, I say oil city, they say no. Greater Accra also be a capital city. I say any BP from Kubia, a Central Region, so Africa. No, any international financial services center, better one seven. Ashanti Region, so Noah Bemuno, the Shebibia say, no, it's going to be the now new industrial city for the whole country. And it's a Central Region, so any model, anything I'm doing, marginal question. So I don't know back. And within 2 to 3 years, with the International Financial Services Center, the Central Region goes a Central Region.
Right then, that's Alan Kojo Tremantain. He's going to make way for us to do business here on Hot Edition, but we're going to read just a handful of messages. This one from Tia Abdullah says all of these people are capable of partnering JDM. This one says I go from Musa Ali Kone. Says I go for Professor J. Nano Pukwa Jiman. And I mean, there are a lot of other individuals who are wishing the station well. We see all of the messages. Now, time for us to do the very latest from the world of business. Menuafu will do that for us right after this.
The 3FM Gobe Festival 2024. Gobe Lovers and Gobe Eaters Association. Time now, so get ready for the biggest Gobe event in Ghana on Saturday, 16th March at the Akramo Interchange Park from 9 a.m. Come experience a food festival interlaced with fun activities and music performances like never before. Be there to savor different flavors and combos of Gobe, like Gobe and rice or Gobe and kinky. Throw some pepper on the side, avocado in the center circle, and eggs on the top corner. Last year was terrific. This year will be a showdown. Don't miss out on the gastronomic delights and vibrant atmosphere. Are you a Gobe seller or you know anyone? Call now to register 0532-200-927 or 0531-100-927. Let's link up. The 3FM Gobe Festival 2024. Your Gobe joint the beat. Join us on Saturday, 16th March at 9 a.m. and let's transform the Akramo Interchange Park into a Gobe lovers paradise. 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio station.
Sponsored by Global. In Kulinu, Fidelity Bank. Bigo. Hello, good evening. It's time now for the business segment on Hot Edition. Coming up, Ghana cocoa farmers fall short of living income standards, report finds. We have details of these coming up in the next 5 minutes. We'll go straight to our first story. A new report by Imani Africa paints a concerning picture of Ghana's cocoa sector. The study, titled Profitability and Environmental Sustainability of Cocoa Farming Models in Ghana, reveals that none of the three main cocoa farming models, full sun, shaded and high-tech, currently allows farmers to reach the living income community of practice standard of $1.96 per person per day. There's more in the following report.
A new report by Imani Africa revealed the average cocoa farmer in Ghana earns $1,087 annually, falling $2,849 short of the $3,576 needed to meet basic needs according to the Living Income Community of Practice LICOP standard. To reach the LICOP standard, farmers would need to triple their cocoa output from 0.87 metric tons to over 2 metric tons annually, or experience a major increase in global cocoa prices. Cocoa is the primary source of income for all farmers across all models, accounting for 78% of household income. Food crops contribute to up to 20% of income, indicating some efforts towards diversification, but also highlighting resilience on cocoa. The report highlights the precarious situation faced by Ghanaian cocoa farmers and the need for potential solutions to address the significant income gap. Efforts to improve farmer livelihoods could involve diversification strategies, increased farm productivity, a fairer pricing mechanism within the cocoa supply chain.
That was a 3 Business Desk report highlighting the plight of Ghana's cocoa farmers. Away from that, on one of the major challenges confronting small and medium-sized access to finance. To help address the challenge, a digital B2B platform has been developed to facilitate the growth of the industry by easing access to credit, e-commerce and business services. CEO of Solve Ghana, Sam Kweku Pepra, says this is a major step to ensuring financial inclusion.
There's a funding gap that SMEs are faced with. Most importantly, the World Bank estimates it to be $10 billion or more. And simply put, they are not getting the right access to funding to support their businesses. And it's a function of multiple issues, right? One, how they even organize their business and the data around it. and also the other being how they're structured and how they're able to take it forward. So that is the fundamental issue that we're trying to address. And for us at Solve, even by the initial scoping we've done, which is in the area of fast-moving consumer goods, which is what affects you and I on a daily basis, we're seeing an opportunity of about $3 billion plus to fund. And I think no bank or financial institution would be able to single-handedly manage a $3 billion gap.
Chief Executive Officer of Solve Ghana, Sam Kweku Pepra there, and that brings us to the end of the business segment on Hot Edition. My name is Menu. Kindly log on to our website www.3news.com for more business stories. Up next is sports.
Good evening. It's time to bring you the latest in the world of sports. My name is Emmanuel Andam. Now we start off on the local front with match day 19 of the Ghana Premier League. Asante Kotoko takes on Bibiani Gold Stars later tonight. Ahead of the game, Bibiani Gold Stars CEO Kwesi Addo encourages players to get all 3 points when they face Kotoko.
Muko Kumasi. Now you go with the mindset that we are going to get something. It's not easy to go and pick something from the Lions Den, another one. It's not easy. But if you go with a positive mindset, with what? A well-outlined strategy. If you go in with what? A comfortable what? Position. Like how we stand here today. You don't have any pressure. You get what you want. You don't need that much fun.
That was the voice of Bibiani Gold Star CEO Kwesi Addo. Now on Saturday, Royal Tamale United will take on Bofo-Kwatano, and on Sunday, Great Olympics versus Hearts of Lions, Legon Cities versus Accra Lions, and Swachaman versus Hearts of Oak. And on Sunday, the league leaders Samatex will take on Nations FC. Now let's cross over to Europe to the camp of Liverpool, where Jurgen Klopp says that Mohamed Salah is still not ready for selection.
I don't think Mo is too far off, but he will not feature tomorrow, and from there we have to go. So it's like with the other two, what we said, touch and go, and that stays with Mo unfortunately a bit longer. But I think next week at any point it's possible. So he is on the way back definitely, but not there yet.
So that was Liverpool manager Jurgen Klopp. Now elsewhere, defending champions Man City are going to be without the services of Jack Grealish in the Manchester derby on Sunday. Now here's what Pep Guardiola had to say on the Englishman.
No, we'll not be fit for this weekend. When he come back, I don't know.
Knowing him very well, does he have the kind of character, the personality to cope with this kind of setback?
Yes. Don't have another alternative. Setbacks in life is always there. It's have you overcome.
So that was the voice of Pep Guardiola. Now still in England, Spurs boss Ange Postecoglou beat Arsenal's Mikel Arteta to pick up the London Manager of the Year award earlier this week, and says it's an honour picking up the award.
Yeah, look, I think I said last night, it's a bit, it was a bit weird because it's only February and you're sort of just into March, and I'm not really sure where that sort of fits in terms of recognition. Having said that, I think at least it is an acknowledgement of the work that we've done probably since the start of the year, and coming back off a disappointing year for the club last year. I guess we as a group have made an impact, so it's an acknowledgement of that.
So that was the voice of Spurs coach Ange Postecoglou. Now, before I let you go, let me remind you of the fixtures coming your way in the English Premier League this weekend. It is Brentford versus Chelsea, Nottingham Forest versus Liverpool, Spurs versus Crystal Palace, and on Sunday, it is the big one, City versus United. And that brings an end to the sports segments with me, Emmanuel Andam. Up next is entertainment.
The 3FM Gobe Festival 2024. Gobe Lovers and Gobe Eaters Association. Time now so. Get ready for the biggest Gobe event in Ghana on Saturday, 16th March at the Accra Mall Interchange Park from 9 a.m. Come experience a food festival interlaced with fun activities and music performances like never before. Be there to savor different flavors and combos of Gobe, like Gobe and rice or Gobe and kinky. Throw some pepper on the side, avocado in the center circle, and eggs on the top corner. Although last year was terrific, this year will be a showdown. Don't miss out on the gastronomic delights and vibrant atmosphere. Are you a Gobe seller or you know anyone? Call now to register 0532 200 927 or 0531 100 927. Let's link up. The 3FM Gobe Festival 2024. Your Gobe joint the B. Join us on Saturday, 16th March at 9 a.m. and let's transform the Accra Mall Interchange Park into a Gobe lovers paradise. 3FM 92.7, your urban lifestyle radio station.
Sponsored by Glovo, Inkulinu, Fidelity Bank, Bigo.
Get ready for an epic adventure. Join TV3 on a 2-day expedition of the Western Wonders of Ghana as part of the Ghana Month celebration happening from Friday 29th to Saturday 30th of March. This is Journey to the West. Explore the rich history of Cape Coast Castle. Walk through the lush forest of Kaku. Witness the breathtaking Inzulezu Stilt Village for a journey through time. Immerse yourself in the magic of bonfires, groove to sensational music performances, and experience the beats with DJs on rotation. Indulge in mouth-watering dishes and refreshing drinks while creating unforgettable memories. Don't miss the chance to celebrate Ghana's beauty and culture. Join us for 2 days filled with adventure, culture, and a whole lot of fun. Journey to the West. To book a seat for this Odyssey, call 0264 932732. It's Journey to the West. Hashtag Ghana Month Celebration. Hashtag Journey to the West. Hashtag Explore Ghana.
Brought to you by Malta Guinness.
Are you stressed from a hard day's work? Looking to de-stress and relax over soothing music and soft chats? Then join Mia Kofa on Wind Down. 3FM.
Keeping it cool, easy, nice and breezy like that. Okay, starting with Kenny Rogers. Write your name across my heart.
Write your name across my heart.
Every Monday to Wednesdays, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. and on Thursdays at 8 to 9 p.m. as I play your favorite songs on your favorite dial, 3FM 92.7. Wind Down with Mia Kofa, your smooth operator.
Ready for an epic adventure? Join TV3 on a 2-day expedition of the Western Wonders of Ghana as part of the Ghana Month celebration happening from Friday 29th to Saturday 30th of March. This is Journey to the West. Explore the rich history of Cape Coast Castle. Walk through the lush forest of Kaku. Witness the breathtaking Inzulezu Stilt Village for a journey through time. Immerse yourself in the magic of bonfires, groove to sensational music performances, and experience the beats with DJs on rotation. Indulge in mouth-watering dishes and refreshing drinks while creating unforgettable memories. Don't miss the chance to celebrate Ghana's beauty and culture. Join us for 2 days filled with adventure, culture, and a whole lot of fun. Journey to the West. To book a seat for this Odyssey, call 0264 932732. It's Journey to the West. Hashtag Ghana Month Celebration. Hashtag Journey to the West. Hashtag Explore Ghana.
Brought to you by Malta Guinness. So baby, what makes you feel protected and gives you peace of mind?
My partner.
Really guides you through life with a steady hand.